Well, looks like we are live. Howdy, folks. Jörg here again from Dreamland Resort, and look who's back, spending 2 nights and 2 days on the mountain overlooking Area 51. And here he is again. Michael,
Hello.
tell us about your adventures.
Wow, it was tremendous conditions. No, I'm joking. It was pretty fine for me from the start to the end. And I will tell you what, it was the first time ever in my life I used a tent on my trip. Really?
Well,
Yeah,
I
but
think
there's plenty of things to tell about, plenty of
last
goings
trip
on.
you needed a tent when you froze up there.
Yeah,
So this time it was okay weather-wise.
but well, on the side of the weather, it was pretty fine. It was totally calm at night, no wind, no low temperatures. It was pretty pleasant to stay with.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was perfect.
And just to let you all know, we had planned on us both being up there, and we tried a little different route to get up to Michael's secret spot, and I just had to realize I can't make it. I was I we started out together, and it was just not safe for me to proceed. I'm more, I'm more than twice Michael's age, and it is what it
Mm.
is. I can probably still do Tikaboo, but that particular hike that Michael did, I just had to sit that one out. So I came home early, and that's why we weren't able to do a live cast from the top of Tikaboo. But Michael has lots and lots of pictures and
Yeah.
video to show you, and of course, telling about his adventure.
Mhm. Yeah, so when we were up there with York, we started to climb together, and after that, we need to make some separation. So I continued on my way,
Hmm.
getting to the top of the secret spot of mine. Let's
and
call it like that.
and we should clarify
Yeah,
that it's not like you want to keep that spot all to yourself, but
yeah,
it's because that spot cannot be seen from the weather camera
yeah.
on Tikaboo.
That is the only intention that led me to use that spot because although there are portions of the base that are unable to be seen on my spot, but they are able to be seen on Tikaboo. So
Yeah,
I keep using my spot, because I want to stand away from the views of the weather camera.
right. And you don't want to tell,
Yeah,
you don't mind telling the chat and the people that are watching right now about it, but of course you don't want the base to know where it is. So
yeah. I'm totally open for everyone to speak with, but security of the base may.
yep. So base
uh,
security, if you're listening, sorry, we're not
yeah.
gonna tell you.
But you can see on my face I got true colors of Polish flag. White and
Nice.
red.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes,
so the sun was burning. Yeah.
you are a little pink.
Yeah.
But I got to
Ah,
give you a lot of credit for going up there. I mean, I've tried it, and that hike was a bear. I mean, it was really heavy for me. I've done Tikaboo many years ago. What really killed me was when we were traversing this leaning slope, and we
yeah.
were just kind of going alongside the leaning slope. That kind of stuff really gets to you. And of course, you're doing this with a what about 40-pound bag on your
Yeah,
back.
that's
That I said, okay, this is just not going to happen. And of course, Michael not only had his backpack on, he had a tripod under his arm, a camera back under his other arm, and running circles around me.
yeah.
So, oh, to be young again. But
No, but I at this point I need to say that it's very professional on the side of York to know when to stop, because there are
thank you.
many
Yeah,
people that would try to make the success to
yeah,
fast forward to make up to the climb, and after that that could be problematic sometimes.
yeah. And
Things may go wrong.
when especially the folks that try to
Yeah,
go up there by themselves, it's dangerous up there, and it can really turn ugly very quick. So
yeah,
I had to make an executive decision, and it was the right one. My legs weren't doing it, and walking on a trail is one thing,
yeah,
but walking in terrain, ducking under trees,
yeah,
on a slope, with 40 pounds
yeah.
of stuff on your back, it's that's not good for a 63-year-old guy in decent shape, but still. Anyway, I'm not trying to make excuses here. It just wasn't. It is what it is, and I'm glad I made the decision I made, and I'm glad Michael did make it up there. He made it. He was up there before I was even back on the highway. So kudos to him.
My practices at the gym in Poland, the routine practices are what are up to see here.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very comparable conditions, but there is one thing to note that beside what George already said, there is one other thing that, of course, there are the slopes, there are the ascents, but what is devastating you at exactly those conditions is, of course, the sun, because it tries to hit you from everywhere, as you can see. Again, so it's an important factor there, because if it would be the rainy day or more cloudy day, it could be more plausible for us to get there,
Yeah.
probably, because we wouldn't be so exhausted because of the conditions. So
The sun is beating down
Yeah.
on you, and that brings up another. We're going to get to some really good footage here in a minute,
Yeah.
folks. Don't go away. I'm kind of trying to keep it a little slow to give people a chance to catch on and join the chat. I see we're up to 30 already. Talking about the sun, that brings up a good point. You took about what, maybe about a gallon per day up there, and you needed every bit of it, didn't you?
Yeah, in the end, it ruled out that I needed more mineral water than I supposed to. And in advance, I always thought like, oh, get 2 liters. So in a gallon, sorry, I'm not sure how much is it, 2 liters,
That's about a half a gallon.
half a gallon. And normally, in normal operation, normal day, everywhere else, even if I'm in mountain sections and doing some trekking or climbing, it's enough. But at these particular conditions, when you have the backpack that is so heavy, when you have the additional tripod that is very good but it's heavy as well, and your camera that alone weighs like 10 kilograms along with this backpack, so you just to tend to keep as much water as you need. The water is the most important, even let alone the food. The water is something that gives you the minerals, and without the minerals, you will just die there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to take at least a gallon of water, and people don't realize it. Especially they come here from somewhere in lower elevations. They don't realize how thin the air is, how the sun is burning down on you, and how dry it is.
Yeah.
We have what, 10% humidity, and 15% humidity is a humid day here. So
that's like this.
it's just you got to take a lot of water.
Yeah.
And that is the most, like Michael said, if you skip anything else, take plenty of water.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost want to say take some binoculars and leave the camera down there if you have to, but take water. It's really that important.
Just in case if you are not sure how to prepare yourself, you can always try to ask me. So shoot me an email or try to contact me, and I will tell you how much water now, because it has changed from the pre-advanced before the trip, because I thought I wouldn't need as much as I could. So that is a good pointer for my further trips, that I will need to prepare and do much more research in advance when it comes to particular mineral water at those trips.
So is that okay if I post your bio in the description with the video, and
Of course,
that has your email address in it, people can contact you?
I would be delighted, right?
Very good. Here's a guy who's done it not once, not twice, but what, 3 times, 4 times now?
It's 4 times, I believe.
4 times.
That's my
Wow.
6th visit in United States, and one time I was unable to make an Tikaboo or the new spot of mine because I got lost.
Well, and that happens too. That gets us to another good point, and that is my last point before we get into pictures. Take a GPS or anything, because you might think, well, it looks so easy on Google Earth. You just walk up this wash, and then you go over here, and then you're right there.
Yeah.
And you get there, and there's trees everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's low-hanging trees. You're ducking under trees, and that's how we ended up on this leaning slope. I misjudged the bearings, and we found ourselves on that slope, and at that point decided we don't want to give up terrain, so we traversed that slope. instead of going back down. But if you don't have a GPS, we did have a
Yeah,
GPS,
we did.
and still didn't quite follow the path that I had mapped out, because it is just there's a lot of trees. It's not it's
Yeah.
Yes, it's the desert, but there are trees, and they make it very difficult to follow a straight path. You're ducking in this direction, you're ducking in this
Yeah.
direction. Before you know, you lost your direction you were going in.
Yeah, exactly like that. You went just to try to omit to not hit the trees,
Yeah.
intentionally, and then it seems like you look on the map, on the application or anything on the display, that your map, your path is already went by like 200 meters.
Yeah. That's, I can't overstate the fact
Yeah.
how difficult it is to follow the terrain
Yeah.
with all the trees, and of course you got low brush stuff,
And fallen
it's
trees as well.
fallen trees. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you're trying to walk in this wash, and of course, what does a wash do? It carries water, and what do trees like? Water. So there's a lot of trees around the wash.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So, but I think we should get into, maybe, if you like, get into your videos and your pictures.
I will be happy to.
Michael did have a nice flyby of two F-117s. We got photographic evidence, and we do have video evidence that these F-117s actually landed at Area 51.
Yeah.
Plus, I monitored it from here on the scanner. And although Rachel is not a perfect monitoring location for Area 51 because of the mountains, I was able to monitor the F-117s on the frequency that they, on night ops, it's on my frequency list on 322.7. That is the frequencies the nights the F-117s use. And Michael has very recognizable shots of them flying overhead and landing at Area 51. So while Tonopah Test Range is shut down because of runway work, they do fly out of Area 51.
Yeah.
There's no more question
No
about
more.
that. You've proven it.
Yeah.
And you came here to get video of them, and you did.
Yeah. This is what I wanted to get achieve, at this trip.
Yeah.
Because I want to prove that F-117s are operating out of room at the moment. And this is another type that firstly photographed at room, particularly at this trip. So I'm getting a collection at least of aircraft types that are flying from room.
And you every time it seems like you're coming here with a goal. You got this particular little thing as a goal, this particular item as a goal, and every time you make it.
I'm just a lucky guy.
No, you're not. You're determined, and you know what to do now. Don't give yourself a little more credit. You're more than that.
Thank you so much, Joe.
You got a lot of experience going, and I hope that a lot of you folks, especially the younger generation watching this, here's a guy, when he first came here, he knew nothing, and now he's an expert. So you guys can do that too. If you want to do this, give it a try and get in touch with Michael. He can give you some pointers.
Of course.
And before you know it, you'll be out here running around the mountains too. And we will take a lot of questions. I know people have questions. We will take a lot of questions later. But with that, I hand the mouse to Michael, and I'm going to share the screen here. I hope that works. And we can show you some of his nice footage. Let's see what we have here. I don't want to. Which one is that? Is that this one? I think it's this one. Yeah, that's the one.
So the collection of the screens or the photos and videos. So I could just start to show you up. So
you gotta go down here.
Yeah, click on it. Yeah, so this is the first photo, particularly not the best shot, but it shows just the background. In the background over there are the Groom Mountains. Just behind them is, of course, the Groom Lake. And this feature isn't particularly interesting if you do not mention the one dot that is over here. You can see it. It will probably intrigue you what is it and why it's over here. And in the next picture, you will find an answer.
Boom, there it is, B2.
That was B2. That was definitely not B21. That was regular B2. And it was probably moving some testing with the dishes over
Yeah, I heard him that
Yeah,
morning when you came out here,
yeah.
and I heard him. They were flying against the radar cross section range at Groom. The call sign was rearm 72.
Yeah. So it was that I was on my way up to York. They were just to meet with him for the first time on this trip, and then I looked just over on the left from the car's window and noticed some kind of blackish shape that looked like heavy, being very heavy aircraft. So I stopped the car next to the highway and hoped that it could be still there doing some kind of flyby or something. And happily enough, it was over there, so I could make that photo. It's maybe not the best shot of the year, but you can distinguish the shape of the aircraft very easily. So
Well,
it's remarkable.
and you can see from the previous photo what a distance the photo was taken at.
Yeah, so that's you
So
can
this is
see.
what it looks like to the naked eye. So I think you did pretty damn good with that shot.
I was just happy to spot it and to photograph it. And to be honest, it was the first time I saw the B2 ever in my life.
Yeah,
It was the
but
really
that's
premiere.
well,
Yeah.
there's another plus, the stealth bomber and the stealth fighter in one
Yeah,
trip. How about that?
the couple of steps.
Nice.
Yeah, the next picture is the beautiful. This is what I love in Nevada desert. This is what brings me here each time of each year of the same on the summer, on in the autumn. I just love that sky. Look at that beautiful sky. It is not to met anywhere outside of this place, really.
Sunsets are
The
amazing
sunsets
here.
are amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, this skin are beautiful. But this is just to mention that how it was like to be here to for you to feel how better it would be to stay away, to stay here at that desert, at that location for forever for me. Maybe it will happen somehow. And now we are going to get some good range photos. This is nothing particularly interesting. This is regular fighter, like many of those flying during the day and at night there. But it was nice picture because it was sharp, and judging by the fact that my camera has a problem with doing sharp points when something is moving quite fast, so I was happy with that.
And
So
we should mention that these are probably fighter F-15s
yeah,
from the 422nd Test and Evaluation Squadron out of Nellis. So while it's nothing sexy out of Groom, it is still something that is being
yeah,
tested under from Nellis.
yeah,
And I gotta say, when after I aborted our mission and I was driving home, and I come over Hancock Summit into Tikaboo Valley, and one of these guys was right on the deck. I mean, I couldn't believe how low he was. He buzzed me. He came head on at me and buzzed me at, I don't know, maybe 100 feet, 150 feet
wow.
above ground. It was absolutely
You
amazing.
could feel it really.
I
You
could
could
totally feel it. I mean, it was like you don't hear it coming at you, and the moment he's over you and behind you, you just get blasted
Yeah,
with
that's
noise and with that shock wave.
that's what aviation lovers loves. So
So,
yeah, I
I got
guess.
my excitement that way.
Ah, you got an
So,
experience that I haven't.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, there you
really.
go.
And the
All
next
right.
photo is another fighter, or maybe even the same one, just for you to see.
These are
Another.
nice shots.
And
Okay.
now we came up to the portion of the land that I love to visit, and this is the spot I'm used to visit. And as you can see, it's quite a distance from Groom because Groom Lake is just here behind that first mountains here.
Or you're
And
looking over, you're
yeah,
looking from your secret spot over the entire Tikaboo Valley, over the hills, over the jumbled hills, into Area
into Area
51.
51. So it's basically from the same side that Tikau, but gives much different perspective.
Yeah,
And it's a private spot, so I'm happy with that.
exactly.
Okay, let's go with another
It
picture.
shall be known as Michael's spot.
Ah, maybe I will just put the kind of logo there.
Well, you got to claim it.
Yeah,
Well, here it is, Hangar 18.
Hangar 18, and I want to just put this particular photo for you to show how much conditions are influencing or fluent on the pictures or videos. This photo was taken like 5 or 4:30 in the afternoon, and look how little you can see on that distance. There's of course the Hangar 18, but without knowing that it's over there, it could be difficult for anyone to even spot it because it's so long distance that at particular times during a day, even with the best quality equipment, you couldn't catch good details of it. And
Yeah.
this is what hurts really, but you cannot change it at all.
Well, this is again to clarify. You're looking right into the sun in the afternoon from Tikaboo. You're looking almost due west. That means you're looking
Yeah.
straight into the sun, and of course the sun illuminates all that 26 miles of desert haze.
Yeah.
And conditions. Every time I go up there, it's like you're looking at, oh, the view is really crappy. And then you go to bed and maybe get excited at night when something happens at the base, and then all of a sudden in the morning, it's clear as a bell. It's
Yeah.
super clear. You got the sun behind you, and it's just a whole different ballgame. So get ready for some really cool shots.
Yeah.
This is just to show you how crappy it looks in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's exactly like that. Now this is just another picture of the same. This is
Oh,
what we
nice
already
sunset.
spoke of. The sunset are outstanding.
It's
there.
actually, it looks like there's a light on the hill here. Is that could be part of the base?
Or is it at the base?
It
It is strong
could,
light.
it could be at the
Probably.
base, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you couldn't miss it. If you would be there and you would just looking for a landscape, even though you wouldn't be military nerd, you would see that there is a military base. So
Yeah.
nobody is going to disclaim that. Next photo. And next photo
cool.
is
Getting
actually
into
a
a video.
video. Let's play that, maybe. We'll check
See,
if
do we
it's.
have that in our list here?
Yeah, it's a kind of
Okay,
to
94.
show
No, we
you.
don't have
Yeah,
that.
that kind
we-
of a thing, but we'll focus mainly on the photos because videos are to be uploaded to my profile
Yeah,
soon.
let's get to the photo
Yeah.
where you can see the taxiway.
All right.
I gotta stop it. I think.
Yeah, all right, that's working.
This is a nice shot.
That's a nice shot. I tried to make it with long time exposure, maybe a little bit too much long, but because of that, it was really sharp details. So look particularly on that runway lights, the taxiway lights that are very distinguished here, and they are just beautiful to see because you have the desert floor that is all over there, and now you can see it with the blue lights that are illuminating the shadows, so you can feel like it being a Christmas.
Nicely put.
Yeah.
Nicely put. I will never forget that moment when I was on Tikaboo and it was pitch dark over at the base, and all of a sudden this whole carpet of blue lights comes on. It's
Yeah.
just unbelievable to see.
Yeah, it's one of a kind experience. And this is the strong light that we probably have seen on the previous photo. We are just not sure what exactly it is, but
That is on top of the building. That is all above the building, I should
Oh.
say. That's not even part of the building. That's above the building.
maybe UFO.
Oh, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, it's all true.
Oh, it's moving. No, guys, I'm just joking. I'm not UFO nerd. No anymore. Yeah, and now I changed a little bit settings of the camera for it to look a little bit darker.
And
so we can
that
see.
building, I firmly believe, and there's good reason to do so, that is the new data center of the base. When you go
wow.
to the Dreamland Resort website and you download my Google Earth plugin with information about the base with labels of the base, I have it labeled as data center, and there's a good reason why. So that is one of the newest buildings at Area 51 that is probably a data center for AI tests, for AI aircraft flying out of Area 51. And where they live, we'll see later on.
Yeah. And that is another shot showing a little bit on the left of the runway. All the lights on the base are blue at the time, and they just seem to disappear when the next hours are coming. Yeah. So,
I wonder if this was taken before the last Janet took off, if that light is somehow illuminating the taxiway for the Janets or the Janet terminal.
That
That would
one?
actually,
Okay.
you know what that is? One of the lights
yeah.
of the Janet terminal. That's
Ah,
what
yeah,
it is.
probably. Yeah. No,
The
I
Janet
noticed
terminal
that.
is right there in the corner.
Yeah, that's probably that's the case. And you can see that it's like basically this, but all of these pictures are proving that beautiful blue and bluish lights that are just romantic.
That is absolutely fantastic. Oh, here we
And
got a whole
whole base.
panorama of the base.
Yeah.
All the way over here, that's the north base. That's where they have the group of 4 hangars on the north end of
Yeah.
basically the north ramp. The new construction, I don't think, is visible from this particular view spot at the north ramp.
Probably not. Yeah.
For that, you have a great view of the southern ramp. And
Yeah.
he's got some really cool shots that just blew my mind later on.
So we just go for them right now. And this is another of the same kind. Some are more sharper, some are less sharper. It just depends on the conditions you will meet at that particular moment. You cannot predict it or you cannot just rely on it, but it is how it is.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And by the way, Michael is going to put some videos on his channel. I'll link to his channel from the description. He's
So-
going to do amazing things in post processing. I've seen his raw footage from the last trip and then what he did with it. He cuts through the haze like it's nothing.
Yeah. So as George said, it's possible for me to enhance without AI modifications the pictures by many different methods that I will keep for myself.
Fair enough.
Secrets are secrets, yes. It's
Fair
like Area 51. No one knows it's there, yeah. Yeah, but
there you go.
yeah, I will try to do my best to provide the best quality pictures from that particular trip as well, like everywhere else, yeah, and do my best.
Awesome. I look forward to those videos, man.
Yeah, and now this is the first actual video that we are intended to show you.
So which
That
one is
is
that? That's the one.
88 number,
Yeah. And I
and
did
we are going to quickly jump
to 135.
to 1 minute 35. And look at that.
And literally just before we went on the air, we went through all these videos and chose the best sections to show. There's a
So,
Janet. Look
that
at
is a
that.
Janet. This is Janet airline landing on runway 32. Just passing very nicely through that long
Yeah.
tarmac there.
Nice. Look at that.
You know, that airline, that Janet never gets old. No, just
It doesn't. And a lot of people, there's still people that question, they see them in Vegas and they question, do they really go to Area 51 or is it all BS? Well, here's your proof. There it is.
Yeah. We try to dismatch them because the red stripe blue is applied on the edge of the frame, yeah?
So
yeah.
and you can even hear, well, you probably can't hear it on the show, just a little bit of the radio scanner communications that Michael recorded with it.
Yeah.
He'll put all that together. He does a great job putting it together on his videos. It's absolutely fantastic what he does. So I can't wait to see that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll try to. Sometimes I try to record some kind of communications and make it faster to make a good comparison or to match the videos with the audio.
Yeah.
But guys, it takes plenty of hours to listen through all these communications, and sometimes I need to do pre-advance check on the videos to find exactly which particular file it fits. So it's long hours after our trip. After my trip always gets home, I'm off of any regular life for like 3 or even a week of time. My girlfriend tries to tell me something, maybe that she's pregnant, I don't know.
She may be listening.
Probably. Hello, Gabriela. Yeah, but seriously, it takes time.
Yeah.
Time.
Just when girls talk, you got to listen to sometimes.
I will try
So anyway, I mean, beautiful stuff here. I think we got another Janet landing here.
Yeah,
This
it
one.
should be. Yeah, and this is particularly 89.
Oh, this is we got the from 20 seconds on. I think we got the Janet taxiing off.
Yeah, that's probably the Janet taxi. The same one that just landed on the previous clip.
Yeah, and they kind of disappear behind the hills. About 20 seconds in.
20 seconds.
Yeah, there you go. it's turning off the runway. And it really only used, this is a center taxiway, so it really only used half the runway length to land, and it's turning off, right at the center taxiway.
Yeah, and the Janets are probably the only aircraft I could ever see really using that taxiway. On my particular trip, I have never seen any other aircraft type that use that taxiway. So it's probably a kind of shorten for them to just proceed directly to the Janet terminal, which is located over there, because it wouldn't be appropriate for them to travel all the way to the end of the runway,
Right.
because it's just time consuming and fuel consuming as well. Yeah.
I think that's why they do that. They want to get. I mean, these people want to get to their workplace as soon as possible, and more importantly, in the evening, they want to get back to Vegas and to their families as soon as possible.
And this is even more important.
Right.
Another cliff, and this is again the same Janet.
That's a close up. I didn't make a note on that one,
but
but I think that's a really nice close up of that Janet taxiing in front of Hangar 18.
Yeah.
And then past the data center to the Janet parking ramp that is just outside of this frame, but it's just within view. And we have another shot where you can see the Janet's actually sitting there with the stairs on the plane and everything. And here's something interesting that first time we see this tower over here. I'm take the mouse real quick.
Yeah.
This tower I have never noticed before. I believe that is new. I'm going to have to, I haven't had time. Literally, we just went through all these videos. I haven't had time. I'm going to have to go on Google Earth. I really think that is a new tower. I do not recall seeing a massive tower like that.
And I seem to don't remember it either.
Yeah, I think that is new. So that goes to show again, every time you go up to Tikaboo, you see something new at Area 51.
Yeah, it's something that is completely to discover each time from the beginning, I would say.
And that's why you do what you do.
Yeah, that's why I'm so frequent visitor here.
Yeah.
And this is 91. Do we have that?
I don't have any notes on 91. I got notes on 95.
Well, let's play it.
Let's see what we got there.
Let's go with the flow.
Right.
And this is particularly to show you the places of hangars 20 to 23, and these are the old Oscar hangars. So yeah, as you can see, this is a screenshot. This is a screen of the zoomed picture, and a little bit of haze, of course, is applied, but we cannot do anything with it. But at least you can see how the infrastructure goes there. What kind of thing is it here? I'm not sure. I'm trying to think about from the time I saw it in August and have no idea, to be honest. If you guys have an idea, you can put your mind to the comment section for us to discuss this. All right, then, 92. And these are some other portions of the base that are so short, so we thought it's good to share on the stream. And this is that, you can tell more about it, George. This is
this is what we're looking at here. This is actually a firefighting practice area here. This is a kind of a gutted, I think it's a C-130 where they cut the tail off, and they use it for firefighting drills to, of course, you have a military base with a lot of planes going in and out, so there's always a chance of one of them crash landing, catching on fire, and this is where they practice getting people rescued from burning aircraft. Then also the structure here is part of the firefighting range. So this whole area back here is the firefighting range.
Yeah.
These tanks here in the foreground, that is actually the new fuel farm. Many years ago, probably about 20 years ago, there was a bunch of older tanks in this area that were probably not exactly to EPA standards, and they have been replaced by these two shiny new big fuel tanks. So that's where they keep the fuel, and you can barely see. I think we have another frame now later on where you can see the gravel pit over here, some workshops here in this area. This is actually part of the radar for the aircraft and weather radar and all that good stuff. More stuff over here. And the runway, of course, goes pretty much across the frame here in the middle of the picture.
Yeah.
So
So
let's see what we got
over
here.
there.
Okay,
Oh, this is the video. I guess that is the one that. Okay.
this
30,
is which
30,
one?
93.
93. We didn't make any notes on
Oh
that.
yeah. So we'll
Let's
just pass
see what
quickly through
happens here.
this. Oh yeah. So the sun was not devastating the images so yet, so I could just make a zoom and show better details of all those buildings and beautiful hangars. This is particularly the biggest of the biggest ones. So hangar 18 that got new icons on the roof each time I'm seeing.
Yeah, they just keep patching it instead of fixing the whole
Yeah.
roof. But you know, that hangar is massive, so it will probably be a job and a half to put a whole new roof on it.
Yeah. But that would probably make the base being closed. So
Yeah,
no, with the room closed, Tonopah closed, I don't want to. Where I will travel to see something.
Well,
Oh,
next
yeah.
time, this time you come over here to Tionopah test range is closed, so maybe next time Groom is closed.
Oh,
No,
we'll see what we
that's
travel.
not
No,
gonna happen.
hopefully
We're not
not.
gonna close it. But so you just quickly to reiterate, this is video footage and photos that Michael took the last couple of days from Tikaboo Peak, or
Yeah.
from a view spot, from a secret spot near Tikaboo Peak, just for the
Okay.
benefit of those just joining us. This is actual footage of Area 51, taken through 26 miles of desert air with really good optics, and I think it's among the best video footage ever caught of Area 51.
I hope so.
So, you know, it's
I
always,
wonder.
you look at this, you got to keep in mind this is 26 miles away. A lot of desert haze, a lot of dust and whatnot in the atmosphere. I think this is fantastic. I mean, you go to any mountain near you and try to spot something 26 miles away, and then look at this and tell me this isn't good.
Yeah, this kind of differs like that because it's kind of very unique to see on that landscape there. Of course, there is that beautiful desert landscape. There is the air that is thinner at the desert than it on the regular basis on the regular cities or towns or something. But still, it's 26 miles, so 42 kilometers. And so yes, it's quite a long distance. It's from, well, let's imagine it. Yeah, I think
Here's
the
another. Oh, by the way, you can see the water tanks up on the side of the hill here in this video. Well, this is a still frame of the video, but you can see all the water tanks up on the side of the hill here. This is mostly feeding the south end of the base, and then there's another water tower that we're going to see. I don't know if you can see it. There's another water tower on the north end of the base.
no, it's
I'm
probably
not
not
sure
to
if
see.
we can see it from here, but anyway, this is basically where the base gets its water, which then, of course, is gravity fed into the lower elevations of the base.
That's the thing that they all look very prominent in those pictures because they are never blurred because you can see on the stage that it's upper than the rest of the base. So tarmac that is on a very high temperatures because of the sun that is burning it is not devastating the image so well. So you can see that they are very sharp on the image here.
Yeah, I've actually used these tanks before. Back in the days when I used my sporting scope attached to a camera, and of course that way you don't have autofocus. So you have to do manual focus, and I used either the water tanks up there or the checkered water tank, the old one that they did away with. I used those for focus points.
For focus points,
because they have nice vertical and horizontal lines,
correct.
and it was easy to focus on.
Yeah, because on a zero level, so it's pretty easy and fine for them to just make the settings of the equipment. And this is like another Janet. Should we run it? Yeah.
Yeah, let's go run it.
It's on our
Unidentified.
list.
We got that on the list. Janet landing. Okay, that's what it is. We have a Janet landing.
Oh, this is particularly the sharper image. It was a little bit later the same day. So we just need to get to a good time window, good time frame with quality pictures because you will miss it by 30 minutes and you will lose the quality.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a repeatable thing each time I'm visiting the place. You just have to time windows to follow. Yeah.
Let's see what time this was done. Oops,
Yeah,
if we can pause it for a second.
okay, that would be here.
This was at
6:57
6:57.
in the morning.
So
Yeah,
I don't know what time sunset is, but it's usually you can really see the sun slowly creeping up on the hills in the foreground, and then finally it hits the
yeah,
base. It comes over the hills and long shadows into the base. And that's really when you want to get busy with your photos. And you got about
yeah.
an hour maybe
Correct.
to take photos.
Yeah, you have a time window of about 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and 15 minutes, and after that it's getting worse.
Yeah,
And at midday, about 12 p.m. or 1 p.m., it's completely distorted by
yeah,
the
yeah.
conditions.
Well, you got the heat haze going
Yeah,
on, and especially in the summer. And then the sun comes around and gets the base, goes behind the back of the base, and then you're done. You
yeah.
can pretty much pack up. Honestly, when I used to go up there, 10 o'clock at the very latest, I was done. I was on my way back
Yeah,
down.
yeah, because if you want to get a just particularly sharp quality photos, you just have to use what we used. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to follow the rules with the time, and it will be okay. But if you want there just to see everything that is going on, you are welcome to see even several others as me.
Somebody just said,
Yeah,
I just caught that music of the unknown films, Blue Lights, Wonder Why Blue. He's talking about the runway lights.
yeah,
The taxiway lights are actually blue, and the runway lights are white. They also have night vision lighting where you can't even see them with the naked eye. But of course, the pilots, especially military jets, they can see them. But blue means taxiway lights. So anything blue is taxiway.
let's go. There is
Go for
okay.
it. Let's see, what is that one? 96? I don't have anything on. Let's see what it does.
Yeah. So this is the familiar area that we have seen already. But you can see here the small Janet taxiing by the taxiway.
Oh, is that the mystery plane that we?
Ah, no, that's not yet the mystery plane.
It's not the
Guys,
mystery
keep
plane
calm.
yet.
There will be a mystery plane in a moment.
There will be plenty of mystery planes here.
That's about probably the
Okay,
making
that's
the
the
turn.
Janet. Yeah, that's. Oh,
Oh,
there's
that
another
was
one
another Janet.
taking off. Look at that.
I even didn't know that it's
How's he
off. I know
landing?
that.
Is he taking off?
It's taking off. And now it will be like taking
There
altitude.
he is.
So it's
Yep.
roughly like 30% of taking the average of the taking off. So
And of course, right now there's more Janets going in and out of Area 51.
yeah, that was very prominent to see because I used to see like 4 or 5 maybe up to 12 a.m. and sorry 12 p.m. and now you could see Janet like every 30 minutes there was a Janet landing.
It's because Tonopah Test
Yeah,
Range, as we mentioned previously, right now is shut down for runway work. The whole runway is dug up and is being repaved
yeah,
at Tonopah Test Range, which, for those that don't know, is a facility somewhat related to Area 51, just north of it, maybe 30, 40 miles north of
yeah,
Area 51. And that's shut down right now. So some of the projects that normally take place at Tonopah Test Range right now take place at Area 51, including, some people didn't believe it, but we have proof, the F-117s. They fly out of Area 51 right now, and Michael has proof. So that's why, and of course, we're going to show you that proof. Yes,
yeah.
we are going to show you that proof. Just be patient.
It
Let me finish, and we'll show it to you.
Good things will come to you.
There you go. That sounds like a fortune cookie.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So that's why there's a lot more traffic right now in Area 51, because there's just more people working there on projects that ordinarily would take place at Tonopah.
They need to probably mix with each other of the projects, so there is a plenty of rooms to assign right now, plenty of work. So that way it is pretty busy at the moment. I would
Yeah.
say it's one of the busiest moments in the entire life. Yeah.
Yeah, and plus you got the NGAD, the Next Generation Air Dominance Project, going on at Area 51. Most likely, we don't have proof for that, but more than likely, that is what's going on at Area 51 right now. And of course, you got B-21 certification that probably takes place to some degree at Area 51. subsystem evaluation and test of subsystems and so forth. So there is just a lot of stuff going on at Area 51 per se, plus all the stuff that is right now going there from Tonopah Test Range.
Yeah, this is another portion of video. We'll just quickly run through this.
This big. Can you pause it for a second,
Yeah,
please?
sure.
Can I?
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me just drive for a second. I'm sorry.
No
This
worries then.
this big structure right here. This is a large structure that was built on both sides. Basically, these are open canopies or covers, whatever you want to call them, built around 4 existing hangars that are covered by these now. And this was done about 2 or 3 years ago, possibly in that time frame, 4 years ago. These covers are open on the side. On the back side, you can see you can look right through. And this side, of course, is equally open, but they don't want us to look under it. So they built this view screen that is sitting in front of that big cover. So this is definitely done for the benefit of keeping whatever is under these covers hidden. And there's very good reason to believe that this is where the next generation air dominance project, the competition was happening. And of course, finally, Boeing got the okay to go ahead. And it's now a known fact that the F-47 was competing against a Lockheed design that, from what I understand, the Lockheed design was not as good as the Boeing design. A lot of people that know what they're talking about uh, tell me that it was the right decision to go with Boeing. I hope that their military arm is a little better than the civilian arm as far as track record goes. But I firmly believe, and there's good reason for that. We'll probably go a little too far here to say why, but there is really good reason to believe that this area right here, these 2 double hangars that are hidden underneath these covers and all this area, this is where the competition took place between Boeing and Lockheed. And this is probably where the Boeing project now flies out of. It's, they say that thing flew since 2019.
Yeah.
And, we keep an eye on Area 51. Nobody told us. They didn't tell us about it. And we didn't.
No one ever seen it.
Honestly, with all the eyes on the base,
Yeah.
the first time we learned about it was from the media, like everybody else.
Like official announcement. Yeah.
So they can keep things secret if they really want to.
Yeah, definitely. These guys know how to do that stuff properly. Yeah.
So with that, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah,
I just
no
wanted to
worries
point that
then.
hangar out.
Yeah, and this is the School and Height hangar that is on the southern side of the base. I believe it will be just a quick shot of it. I tried to.
That's
make
a
the
nice shot of it, though. And you can actually, I wonder what this. Oh, this is just some equipment. Oh, that's, yeah, I know what that is. That's I think some emergency braking equipment that is supposed to catch planes if they overrun.
Yeah. So that's the kind of a picture that comes with you when you are up there at a good time of the day, because that frame was, I will just quickly check, it was, I'll try, it was 747. So this is probably the one of the lightest moments that you can take a sharp quality pictures. So you need to be an early birdie to make a good quality photos, especially at Area 51. Yeah. So let's go with the roll. Oh, and this is the Janet that is just on the approach to runway 32. It's like 7 or 8 miles off of the runway. So it's on the final position right now, a final approach.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just try to tie
some nice time lapse as it progresses towards the base. And the mountain range in the background is probably Papoose mountain range. So if you look at this photo, actually, you're probably looking almost straight at, the Lazar story. I don't want to warm all that up, but it's pretty much Lazar's hangars would be, if they existed, would be on the other side of this mountain range right here.
Yeah.
On the Papoose mountain range, facing Papoose Lake, kind of facing the south west side of the mountain range. But this is Papu's mountain range. That's where supposedly all the good stuff
Yeah, but we don't come to the
resides.
UFO stuff here. We are purely black project guys. Yeah,
My man.
well, for sure. And another shot of the same. I will just make a quick zoom. Undoubtedly, this is Janet because of the red stripe on its side. And again, we're going ahead. I didn't even
Nice.
remember that I had so many pictures of that. I will run with
Let's
the
see,
frog
what is
because
that?
911.
9/11. I got the next one. The next one is the unknown. That's the mystery aircraft landing.
Okay, so to keep you up with your temperature, I will just run it.
Nice. Mystery aircraft coming up.
Yeah, but let's cool down for this clip particular and then heat up for another one. Oh, yeah.
There we go.
So there you go.
The
So
Janet landing. And really, it seems like when we went through your entire footage, I think we probably saw at least 10 of them landing.
yeah, that's something. The amount of them is easy to be noticed that it's higher than it was before. But it's okay. There is always more action to spot and to see. And now, guys,
Mystery plane.
on its way.
And let's see. Yeah, I don't have a timestamp here, the way it shows up. So let's just see. There it is. Can you pause it for a second? Now this is
a frame.
we really scratched our head over this one, and it appears it looked to me very much like it had overhead, like the wings mounted on top of the fuselage. I think we came up with an explanation what it is.
Yeah, but later.
But let's watch that mystery plane for a little bit, and I think we get another shot of it taxiing too.
Yeah, there is a shadow. It was quite fast on the approach. It was much faster than Janet used to be. And what even made it more special, maybe it was the case that I didn't catch it personally, but I got an impression that the Janet that came 2 or 3 minutes before that, and they felt that mystery jet, was of course announced by the tower. And I got the impression that this small aircraft that we have just seen, that mystery jet, was an announcement. And I will only realize it on being on final approach because I look on the left via binoculars to see that something is approaching. So without it, I wouldn't even know that it's actually landing. So it's kind of the thing that they probably didn't mention it on the radio, or I didn't catch it.
It was probably the communication sometimes get jumbled up when they're talking to the Janets and then they're talking to another aircraft.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really hard to follow.
Probably
they would have had to talk to that aircraft, but it's sometimes hard to. There's so many landing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's a non-stop line of Janets coming in.
Yeah, that's a
And
lot.
then, of course, in the afternoon, taking off again. So let's see what we got here.
As you may,
I think we got the mystery aircraft closer. It looks like there's somebody driving out there. In front
there
of
is a
Hangar
car
18 right now.
moving, and there is this mystery guy catching there.
Yeah, you can see him on the taxiway, and it looks like he's barely moving. But you got to keep in mind that taxiway is almost going away from us, and he's slightly going uphill. So it looks like when they're taxiing on that particular center taxiway, it looks like they take forever.
I was trying to maximize the quality of it. As you may see, the haze is already present, so it wasn't pretty easy for me. But we are waiting for it to turn right in the general direction of Janet Terminal, so you could see and huge on yourself in preparation. What does mystery aircraft is?
Some of you may already have an idea.
Oh yeah, and now it's turning right. Is it RAF 55? Is it something else? It's quite long. Looks big.
Yeah, that was my first thought was it might be Rat 55, Rat 55, but it's not big enough for that.
Yeah.
And
No.
okay, what did we come up with?
I think we think, but it's not confirmed, so we cannot confirm or deny. But we think it was one of the smaller bridge aircraft, the Janets, that were coming to the base sometimes. We only rule it out by watching or viewing in other days. So next day videos of mine that I took because I slept over there at the peak by 2 days, so spent there 2 days and 2 nights, as mentioned before. And this small guy was coming all the way using the same speed. I just make a mixture of two pictures and compare it between themselves to see that the lightning on the tail, the shadow, or maybe some black marks are already the same, and the distance is quite impressive. That it's almost the same way that it took off and then landed. And after that, when it was on a taxiway, we made a comparison to the buildings and ruled out that it's probably one of the small beaches aircraft.
What really threw both of us, I think, for a loop was the fact that due to the lighting, I guess it looks like
Yeah.
the wings are mounted high, excuse me, are mounted high on the fuselage, and that is just like a big C5 or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when we actually went and compared it to the size of a Janet 737, and it comes out to be that's what it is. But it you know, we call it mystery aircraft.
Yeah, it was
And
just
don't go away now. We got a lot more coming. We got F-117s coming up right now. So
yeah, this is what you're waiting for.
let's get into that.
All right then. I will just try to run it to show you as a proof that it's one of these channels. You can now, if you will, you can compare. You have all the details here. You could compare the size of this Janet to the size of that building, and after that, compare the Janet that would pass all the same way, so you could see that it's a half of the size.
Yeah, the Janet was about twice. This is that Quonset hut kind of building north of the Hangar 18. And the Janet, the 737 Janet, is about twice the size of that front of that Quonset hut. And this is not even the size of that.
Yeah.
So when you run the math, it works out to be that's what it is. But it's just even in this still, it looks to me like there's high mounted wings, and that's just odd.
From my impression, it was like the light or shadow of the sunburn that was on the hitting the aircraft there. But the display of the camera is always small. You try to sweep a little bit when you are up there at the peak, so it doesn't hurt to provide a good details. But then you need to make all that post production and post viewing thing to huge what you actually have seen, because you may sometimes just don't know. Yeah.
You do amazing work.
Ah.
Oh, here they are.
Yeah, this is what we are waiting for.
So that's
Yeah.
two F-117s. There's no doubt about that.
The direction they came through is something interesting to mention, because they seem to fly from the direction of the base right above my head on very low level, really low altitude, and that just like it on the picture. I just managed to take a quick picture of them. They were passing next to each other, and they were, wow, holy, really, really loud rumbling sounds that are easy to comparable, because my first impression was that it was neither F-16 nor the F-16. It should have been something bigger that was coming on, and then I look up and saw this tribute is coming in my direction. And what is particularly interesting, what makes me suspicious but happy at one point, was that it came from direction of Groom, actually like entering out of the box. So the box is a airspace that is directly connected to Area 51.
Mhm.
And it was the time that was actually the first aircraft that came along that way. So it made me impression that they probably may be originating out of there, as the rumor suggested. But the definite answer came along in a short time. So we'll just go forward with it right now.
We will have proof, and
Yeah.
let's take a closer look at that white
Yeah.
mark there. That's something I don't recall seeing on on them. The white mark at the bottom of it,
What
and
is it?
also the white mark in, I think, in a different frame. You can really see they got some white marking on the tail that
Yeah, we'll see
I
all
don't
that.
recall. See, maybe it's the other one where you can, or maybe it was the previous shot where you can see those markings.
Yes, this is even.
Yeah, you can see it's got, it almost looks like an American flag in that one with
Yeah,
the colors.
yeah.
But it
The
looks like a
colors
flag.
matching.
Of course,
Right.
that's what it is.
And this is interesting. I thought I
Yeah.
got an impression being up there that it's a kind of a small type of characters, of group of letters of some kind, and they're in that yellow. But now I can see that it's something else totally. And we have several photos of those. This is a little bit blurry, but they were going up from me. And let's get
Okay.
views how it looks impossibly that all matte black aircraft seem to have silver belly. It's about the
Yeah.
shading only probably and reflection, but look how things can do differently at different conditions.
Yep.
It's
No,
totally under control.
no joke. I mean, it looks in this photo, it looks like you were talking about having a silver belly, and that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, I thought it was silver belly, but now after that we made the
It's
we look at the
probably
pictures.
a trick of the light.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't think they would actually scrape the stealth coating off and recode it. I don't think they would fly it in that condition. But it certainly looks like, who knows? And I'm still mystified with that white spot there. I got to look back at my photos that I took years ago. I don't recall seeing that white marking at the tail end of the underbelly.
actually, you guys have any kind of ideas what these types or what these markers or why it's so silver here? Maybe it's that the Horocar gray that someone mentioned, the type of a chrome
Okay,
painting or something. But
Dan just
uh,
said DK F-117s are flying without full coatings. What? So that
DK? What that means, DK?
I'm not sure what DK what he means by DK.
Dan.
Oh,
Oh,
Dark
Dark
Knights,
Knight.
of
Ah, okay,
course, yeah. Thank you, Dan.
thank you. So
That
obvious.
okay, so that could be it. I mean, it just looks irregular. It looks like there's just some patch missing. They,
Yeah,
they ran out of paint or something. Uh, I don't
because of the
know, but
speed.
that might explain it. Okay,
Probably. And
thanks for that,
thanks
Dan.
for that for explanation. And they are just they came and were gone, yeah, as you may suppose, but they were very flying very close to each other. So this is one of them, and this is another of those.
Yeah.
And you can see now that it seems that all what Dan Z just said is really indeed on this case, because you can see some silver coatings or lines of the blue painting here,
Yeah.
and when you will see, this is exactly the same case here.
Yeah,
So that's probably really what it is.
yeah. They don't have full coating on the underbelly.
So it seems that my eyes are not lying.
No, you got good eyes. You spotted that right away. Yeah, look
Oh,
at that.
and
Yeah,
look at that. This is even better quality. Yeah,
yeah.
that's clearly,
Clearly,
clearly.
there's for whatever reason pretty irregular though, but there is a patch of
I look
lighter color.
like a skunk works patch. It reminds a little bit.
I wonder if that's where that
Maybe.
could be the other one. I mean, that one could have a skunk and one could have the flag or some other logo on it. Um, the the F-117 is basically simulating cruise missiles and testing a backscatter radar. Yeah, that is one of the roles they use them for. I think they also use them for other roles, but I think their role is being played down a little bit. I think they kind of keep it. Yes, those are the official stories, but I think there's a little more to it, and I can't really put my finger exactly on what it is.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, when the F-117s were first flying, they weren't really announcing it. They were saying they were flying some other type of aircraft. And
Yeah.
Peter Merlin, this is not my theory. I'm just repeating something that Peter Merlin has mentioned, and he knows he knows his stuff, and he has actually voiced those same thoughts to me. So I'm thinking, if Peter thinks there could be something to that, then I believe it.
Yeah, I would definitely stay with you as well.
So yeah, here it is, F-117s flying out of Area 51. And how do we know that?
And then this is a
Okay,
just a quick location, just to show you up. I wanted to point that out that it was indeed the location I was staying. This is my this is the shrubs, beautiful, yeah. But these are the shrubs, and the aircraft are somewhere here, but it was just made instantly after the other pictures, so it was in that area. Some more landscapes of Nevada, the beautiful wildness that is all over the place. Actually, this is the road leading to Tikaboo, and that portion from here there is an intersection. So the intersection makes it possible to come all the way back to Alamo, and if you will cross it and we drive on a straight way here, there is what leads to Tikaboo Peak particularly, and to our spot as well. Okay, let's move to another picture. I'm an artist, so I'm trying to get as much colors as I possible. As green is so rare on the Nevada desert, I just wanted to make the picture of that, and I had to show my family because they are saying that green is not so frequent at the Nevada desert. So I'm just curious what they will tell right now at the moment when you see the pictures.
Well, you proved them wrong. There is green up there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, his little hobo camp there.
And this was another mystery. I managed to build or rebuild or make it at once a tent for the first time on my entire life.
Wow.
I tend to lay on the ground on the area, trying to even take some rest above the Nevada mountains. But I used to get to point that this is the time you need to, Michal, you need to learn how to do that stuff properly. So this is the result, and I'm very happy with that.
You did a good job. It looks like a tent.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is the program of the photographs. It's not the Groom Lake, not the Papoose Lake, it's just one of the side lakes, but over there. And look at that portions. This is what we started our stream with.
Yeah.
That kind of the shrubs, that kind of the trees, they are burned out of the sun over there, and it looks totally brutal here. But imagine that on a slope that's like that, so you can skip down with everything, and that thing are not so easy to cooperate with. They will totally make a scratch on your skin. You will get bloody skin everywhere. So it's a kind of a very difficult terrain to cooperate with because that terrain is not gonna cooperate with you. So you are just around there fighting with the desert, yeah.
And then you actually caught a little ankle biter here too.
Yeah. The cactus are
I
over
like
there.
to call them ankle biters because they will bite your ankles. I mean, they got really long needles and they can poke. I know that from experience. So, when you're hiking, not only are you making your way through the brush and ducking under trees and getting scratched up by branches,
Yeah.
but then you got to look out, down for all these little ankle biters. Yeah, they are everywhere on the
Yeah.
trail.
But you won't miss it. You will definitely know that you touch it.
Oh yeah, you'll know when they get you.
Let's go for another picture then. And
Okay, what do we got here?
this is number 175.
75. Okay, I got 76 here in my list of the F-117's landing.
Yeah, so this
So I think we're getting
particularly,
close to them.
yeah, I will open it, but not sure what it will show up. Oh yeah, this is one of those coming around the runway here.
You can barely see it.
It's very seen. I need to take a lot of post-production video to show it up. So that particular clip is not the proof in itself, but will just came to the proof in the next file.
Video.
And this one proves it without any doubts. There is one of them rolling here, and there will be another one coming along the way. And yeah, so
Yeah,
at that moment, of course, when I'm making a pose, it makes it hard to see. But if you will see on the movement, you can see that characteristic cockpit that is not scratched down. It's not like integrated into the main body of the aircraft, but it's like that, and this is the tail that making that. It's for us, it's undoubted for surely that it's one of
Yeah.
those beauties that just came to the base. And because of the thing that it was just about an hour before that actual footage of them on the runway I managed to record was the moment when they were approaching me and made the flyby above my head. The pictures that you were just seen was just about an hour before. So actually, that was probably most probably by 90% the same pair of aircraft that later landed.
I
And
think the next one
yeah.
you also have, there's another one of the F-117s taxiing. I think
Oh.
you can actually maybe
Which
see it a
number is
little
it?
better.
Yeah, which number is it? I'm trying to follow.
The
That is
77, I got the F-117
77.
taxi.
All right. So that is 77. This
Yeah,
is
one
one
is
of
already in
those.
front of the
Yeah.
student height hangar there.
And then you can see the shape. Actually, there is that tail thing, and this is the rest of the body that making that characteristic, beautiful kind of shapeness that is very prominent and original of a kind.
Yeah, I think that is when you watch the video, when you have a still, it's hard to tell, but
Yeah.
when you watch the video, to me it is
Oh, you
beyond
can
a
even see
doubt.
this here. Yeah,
Yeah, right there, I think it's very
it's
clear.
very clear. It's something that you couldn't miss, and it's pretty fine for us to prove that. We
And
have the official
yeah,
explanation to the rumors, and rumors aren't put to the bed, to the grave, sorry,
yeah.
because in this case they are confirmed. Yeah.
So there you have it. Proof that the F-117s right now are flying out of Area 51.
Yeah.
And
And this is
probably because Tonopah test range is closed, but who knows? There may be a project at Area 51 that requires a
yeah.
couple of them to fly out of there. And
This is an option, open option to consider actually. That was back in the 70s when the A7 pilots were training on the A7 aircraft types before they entering F-117s. So maybe this is a similar case.
yeah,
History
yeah.
repeats sometimes itself. So maybe these guys are just training before being assigned for another new program.
Yeah, I do actually hear them on the scanner sometimes in a clearly teacher-student role, where the teacher guides the student along and even points out things in the cockpit. And if you do this switch and then you go to this menu,
Yeah.
and so yes, there's definitely some teaching going on.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just see Miller Van Dot TV. Thanks for your donation. Thank you for your support for our channel and for what we do. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, the guy that name's Gary. Gary made this quite interesting idea. Maybe similar testing like with the Chrome Raptors. Yeah, that's an open question as well.
Yeah.
Military is about compartmentalization, so this is always a possibility that it's either this option or another. But it's interesting to use, yeah.
Anything that is site sensitive would certainly fly out of TTR or Area 51.
Linda has just come to us.
What's that?
Linda has come.
Oh, hey.
Hello,
There
Linda.
she
Hey,
is.
I appreciate.
No worries about being
No
late. I
worries.
know you had some other stuff going on. I'm glad you could join us. We are still yakking and drooling over Michael's awesome photos of the base Area 51. And for those that tuned in late, we are looking at photos and video footage that was just taken the last couple of days and nights that Michael spent up there
Yeah,
on a secret view spot, out of view of the camera that normally would see you on Tikaboo Peak. He's got a secret view spot where nobody knows that he's even up there.
yeah.
And
And-
he's just doing all kinds of awesome footage. And the best stuff is still coming. I mean, he's got some the second day that he took, I guess this morning.
That was
It would have been this
yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
He got some awesome video footage of Area 51. So there's still a lot coming. And after that, we're going to get through this hopefully a little quicker.
Yeah.
And after that, we're going to take questions here. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions for Michael.
It's 7, 8.
So we got 7, 8. We got, I just wrote it down without anything.
Oh yeah, so
Maybe the 17th again, taxiing.
Wow.
Let's take a quick look here.
quick look and go fast
And then
away.
after that, we got somebody else landing and taxiing.
Yeah, because there was a pair of those and pair of another aircraft probably. So they probably were all in a common mission, cooperating with themselves between each other. So after the mission succeed, they just finish it. This is
Yeah,
very
let's go
hazy
to the next
video.
one. 9182 I
Yeah,
got.
alright, like that. It's loading.
I don't
And
know
now,
what
yeah,
it
that
is.
is
Is that
another. And you can see very quickly, I guess. Look at that frame here when I'm just highlighting or making rounds. It was probably the,
well, they're landing, yeah.
yeah,
But you blink and you miss it.
yeah, really. Because it was not actually landing, it was low pass.
Yeah,
to be
he was
honest.
making a low pass.
Like I said, just here.
I think it's a little further into the clip.
Oh yeah, because it's done
Maybe a
one.
minute or so into it.
We'll try to just follow it, but it's 4 minutes 50 seconds of whole clip, so we'll try to make it faster. Huh?
Let's get to the next one.
This is perfect stealth aircraft. Could we be seen?
Well, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, this is number 180.
So I got the 9182.
Right, so maybe go to 82
yeah, let's go
already.
to that one. Yeah,
And yeah,
and that's the and yeah, go
this
ahead.
is, yeah.
I think that's the one where you see him landing.
Oh, yeah, because it's long.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
long one. Go skip to about a minute and a half or so. I think that's from what we were looking at. That sounds about right where we saw them.
But the area I selected is the same as before mentioned, so if it were be, it will be here. Or let's just keep moving. It's not showing up because
Well,
it's
they're on
stealth.
stealth mode.
Yeah,
so.
not stealth mode. They show and disappear.
Well, let's get to the next one
Yeah.
where we have them. I
You
think we
will
have them
see that-
taxiing at some
Yeah, I will
point.
try to make, of course, the post production of all the schemes that mix it together along with the communications thing, so you will get the better quality, hopefully, sometime soon. This is rough footage directly from my camera, from the memory card of my camera, so you can see how much effort it takes to prepare a clip that could be better quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have, beside a good camera, you need to have some kind of equipment, even at home, and computer and good quality programs to would cooperate with it. So it's not a piece of cake sometimes.
Well, keep in mind what this looks like, and then watch when Michael puts them on his video on his YouTube channel.
Made the comparison.
It is absolutely amazing.
And
So,
that is
yeah.
183.
I don't have anything on that one.
Oh yeah.
I think we're getting into some night shots here.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's a nighttime panorama almost of the base.
So as you may see, I will try to make just a quick zoom in. These blue lights are over here on the runway.
The
taxiway, sorry. The hangars that are highlighted here are some kind of fine thing. I just got the impression that it may be a long aircraft, but it's not. It's just the infrastructure. And as it was taken from 26 miles, I tried my best to keep the sharpness of the image as well as best as it possibly be. But for some reason, like wind or even the lightning, it's unable to be exactly like it should be. But at least you got a good portion of land and impression how it looks to see at that base when all that desert floor is pitch black and you only getting to see several lights that are over there out of nowhere. This is how it really is, and actually you're getting stuck by seeing this because it's so out of this world. Yeah,
it really
kind of
is. You're in pitch darkness, and you're looking down at this spot of lights and all kinds of color. You see blue, you see red and orange and white, and it just is so out of place. You're in the middle of the desert, and there's this huge base in front of you. It is just so unbelievable that that exists, and all the infrastructure at the base.
Yeah, that is something that is very prominent over there because it's the only base that could give you the impression so being so isolated yet so good equipped. Yeah, because you're seeing basically any kind of things like that. You can get the lights, you can get the buildings, you may have panoramas. Sorry, antennas, panoramas. Panoramas I make. But then, of course, there is of course that desert loneliness, yeah, and silence that is present all over there, which is something that I really love too. But let's keep moving.
Yeah, let's get
Oh,
this.
oh yeah, yeah. What happened here?
Yeah, this is interesting where you can actually see vehicles driving.
Yeah, this is long time exposure. As far as I remember, I put the time for exposure like being 1 minute or maybe 30 seconds. I tried different settings to get the better results. So it made, of course, that moving lights making the icons here like that. But yeah, it's not the UFOs.
Yeah, those are actually, this is what you're looking at is early workers coming into the base from gate 700 from the Nevada test site, which is over here. The road comes around the backside, the north end of the Papoose Mountain
Yeah.
range. So you see one guy driving here, and then the next guy is already um, kind of cornering or coming around the north end of Papoose Mountain.
Yeah.
So these are actually early workers that come from the Nevada test site into Area 51.
Yeah.
And then you see some lights here. These are some outlying facilities, radar sites and whatnot in Immigrant Valley, north of Area 51.
Yeah, and these two here are definitely static because if they were not, they would probably make some kind of marker like that as
Yeah,
well.
you would have a line.
Yeah. And
There's another one driving. You can just see him through the gap there.
yeah, just kind of a thing that you can see this cut here. So it's leading behind that mountain wall. And yeah,
Nice touch with where you can already see Hangar 18. You can start seeing buildings and you can still see the lights. I like this.
yeah, this is kind of nice lighting here. All right, and this is a kind of another shot. They were made at several times apart from several minutes apart from themselves, so it's quite possibly exactly the same time they were made. And that is a nice lighting of the shadows. It's like Christmas tree.
Yeah, really.
And this is like the oldest of the oldest, and the youngest of the youngest would be like this probably. But Rior covered that the internal motivation for that program for that hangar is what it is.
Yeah.
So we'll see hopefully in a not distant future with the proof. I will
Yeah.
maybe bring the proof next time.
One of these years, maybe 10 years from now, they're actually going to show us a picture of what is being developed in there right now.
Yeah, this is what I really like to see. All right, what do we have next?
Let's go. Let's see. We got the RCS. Okay, here's
This is
the video.
This is
Uh,
9218. 9218.
Line.
Oh,
Okay, we got another Janet landing.
it's probably because of the fact that these are actually
at about 25 seconds in.
these are already today's pictures from today's morning, and the ones that we just saw, the night shots, or call it as you like, are as well from today's early morning. So I'm just speaking to you guys, being directly after
Yeah.
hiking down.
Yeah, you took these, what, 12 hours
12
ago?
hours ago, yeah. I was up there.
There it is.
Yeah. We somewhat seem to think that today was a little bit better day for taking photographs out at the range because it was the less haze than it was yesterday. Of course, it needs to be improved in the program to look better, but it's still a good as far as I can tell. Let's go for another video.
It's a nice clear shot.
There's a
of
clear
Hangar
shot of
18.
the Hangar 18, the one that you can see.
You can see a vehicle driving in the background down the road.
Like here. This is a kind of the same vehicle appearing at the images all the time. This guy needs to get some lights on and back.
Say again?
I'm just joking that this is a kind of the same vehicle
Oh,
that I
yeah.
can see it all the time. Seems like one guy is just coming up and down all the
Yeah,
time.
that's his job. He's just driving back and forth all the time. Very nice.
All right then.
So let's see. We got the.
No,
Let's see. There's
220.
another shot there. That's a 2008 Hangar. Do we have another Janet? I don't think we have another Janet
No,
landing. That's yeah. That's that big hangar there that was built in 2008, and we still don't exactly know what it was built for, what project it served for.
Yeah.
We know we're pretty certain that there's at least two different projects that have occupied that hangar over time. You can see amount of dirt covering most of the base of the hangar and the runway or the taxiway around it. So that amount of dirt is there for our benefit. It's there solely for the purpose of covering the base of that hangar and what's in the hangar from Tikaboo Peak. So
Yeah, they definitely knew what to do.
yep. Yeah,
It was not without the purpose.
it's
There was an intention behind it.
oh yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right, so I guess this
All right,
clip
let's
is over.
get to the dishes here. Okay, yeah, I like that one too. Is that what the one where you zoom in
Yeah,
on the ramp? This is the south ramp. This is where the A12 project happened back in the days, where the CIA stuff happened, or the spooky stuff back in the 60s when the A12s were flying out of the spy planes, flying out of
Yeah.
Area 51. They were housed in those hangars on the left there. And then I'm sorry.
yeah, no worries.
Where's my cursor? In these hangars here, and this big hangar here was actually where they would taxi in, and they would mount the whatever instrumentation they wanted to carry, the sensors, and then they would go on their merry way.
Oh, yeah. That's a remarkable history of Area 51 in front of our eyes.
Exactly, 50 years, 75 years of history. Oh, there we go. The north end, the dishes. Yeah, look at that, and the rotating tower that doesn't rotate in your video.
Yeah, it seemed to not rotate, but we didn't ask them to rotate, so
Yeah,
maybe next time I will send a request or something.
Yeah, you gotta let them know. They gotta spin that thing.
Yeah.
We're talking about this vertical tower here. There is very good evidence when you look at some Google Earth satellite photos. This tower can actually rotate around its vertical axis. We don't know exactly. It's some kind of a static phased array or whatever. It has something to do with radar. It's been there since probably early 2000s. I remember it being built. I remember spotting it for the very first time.
2003, I believe, or 2005, either that year or the other.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, seeing all the other radar stuff here, of course, the two big dishes and some of the other smaller dishes.
Dan Z said 2006 to 2008.
6 to 8. Okay, I would have
yeah.
thought it was a little earlier than that, but I'll take your word for it.
Thank you, Dan, for mentioning that.
You probably checked my website and saw it on my website because I got the dates on there. You have a photo of the construction. I would love to see that.
Wow, I would really love to see them too.
I would love to see that photo of the construction. If you can share it, I'd love to see it, and if you can share it with the group, I'd love to post it in the forum.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see.
Get a hold of me, and you got my email address, and I'd love to see that. Anyway, radar cross section, of course, these antennas, and basically out of frame here is where the pylon where they would mount the target, the aircraft under test, and then they would shoot radar beams from these dishes at the aircraft and measure the reflection. And that's where they started back in the 60s, where they started research on radar cross section. And of course, then the stealth fighter, the F-117, and all that good stuff happened, and it's still being used, and that is to bring the round it all the way back to the beginning of Michael's photos. This is the range that the B2 that we saw in the beginning was flying against.
Yeah, that is exactly where the aircraft was located at the time I'll show you the pictures of. So basically what we have seen on the first picture on that stream was looking at direction of those dishes. It was just above it from different sides, from the side of the highway, outside of the boundary, of course. So
And Auto Solutions has pointed something out, something very interesting out that I almost didn't catch on to. Normally, these dishes are pointed straight up when they're not in use.
Okay.
And the fact that they're actually pointing at something means they're pointing in a direction other than straight up. That means there's
Yeah.
something flying right now and it could very well. What time was it?
That was the morning, but not quite early. No,
This
6:42.
6:42.
So it
And
was
let me
probably
just
the time they were dropping that things.
take a look at
The
this.
chopper drivers, yeah.
6:42. Yes,
The
6:11 to
Sabre 31,
6:29.
yeah.
Sabre 3-1, one of the choppers from the
Choppers.
base was in the air, dropping calibration targets. So what we are seeing here is these dishes pointed at where they are dropping these calibration targets.
Dan Z asking question, was RAT 35 up in the Death Valley this morning? We have checked it with the York,
Yeah,
and it was not today, but it was yesterday at April 8th when the last activity is recorded. So probably not today, but yesterday, yeah, she was up.
day before yesterday, the 10th, day before yesterday, I think.
Yeah, the day before
They were in
it's
Death Valley.
10th, not 9, sorry. Yeah, but it was on the 8th of April when they were seen.
Yeah, would make sense for the B2 to fly with Red 55
Yeah.
and then fly against Dicoms. Exactly. So
And it
that,
was 8 actually when I came here. It was 8.
yeah,
Yeah, so that would be the day. That would be a good explanation. Yeah,
that was
it
the day.
matches.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dan, for putting that out for us.
good catch. Yeah,
Good
exactly.
catch, yeah.
That's exactly what it was. So yeah, that's when Red 55 was up.
Wow. So
It's
many.
nice. I like it when little
Yeah.
little pieces of the puzzle fit together. I
That's
like
the
that.
beautiful thing in this game. Yeah,
That's
I
what we
like
live
it, yeah.
for.
Yeah, that is what is very interesting us. Yeah.
All right, what do we got? What else?
Yeah.
We got another beach standard landing.
Oh, something is not.
What do we got here? What happened here? Did we crash it? Did you break
No.
it?
Okay, let's
try that again.
Yeah, it's working like that. It's auto ramp as well. Again, this time, I guess it will show you guys the ability of zooming of a feature, which is somewhat
Nice.
a digital zoom. It's way above what is normally used in the camera. Of course, it's a little bit blurry, it's not so sharp, but
It's 26
it's
miles
26
away.
miles away, yeah. And you will see in post production I will make it working better.
You will. And, let's go back just a
Yeah.
little bit. You can actually see
One more, yeah.
a little bit more. And this shot right here, you can see the 4 radar domes that are sitting right here by Hangar 19, I think it is. That is years and years ago, they were built. These are associated typically with UAV projects. So we still don't know exactly which project it was, but this was, I think, also in the mid to later part of the 2000s when these radar domes were built. Another set of these are
I seem
mounted
to
on.
remember it 2008
It
or
could
up
be
to
about right.
2010, something the time frame. As far as I remember, somewhere I have the notes for that.
So some Desert 67 just said that 6,000 fine zoom, 6,000 millimeter fine zoom, not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Thanks.
And you can see where you're just touching the camera and the whole thing just starts vibrating.
Because
and
of the
shaking.
zoom thing, it makes it very sensitive. So any kind of millimeter movement makes it like all display is rushing. And I'm not completely sure. I'm still trying to figure out. It didn't give me a home. What kind of equipment is it? It was there last August when I was up there with my girlfriend. Now I was looking at that same portion of land at the same place in the base and could see the same kind of equipment, and I have no idea what is it. It's neither any kind of vehicle, neither aircraft because it's static over there. It's all the time there, so I have no idea. If you guys have any kind of idea what kind of equipment it may be, I would be appreciate to give your to hear your explanation on this because I just don't know. I would like to learn about it.
I think it's too big to be a pickup truck. I mean, it could be a elongated pickup truck, but
This is what I thought, because that could be one wheel, another wheel on the
Yeah.
back, but at that length,
If that is a pickup truck, it's a big ass pickup truck.
yeah, that is under.
So I, I'm seeing a pickup truck with a camper shell, but
Yeah, maybe. And there is another picture of the sensors here. Oh, yeah, make it working. So it's even the sharper, I believe, than the previous one, or
Yeah.
it seems to be. So
oh,
maybe,
nice zoom in. Man, you can really see those smaller dishes.
yeah, there's plenty of them here. This
Well,
board I could see.
You know, we say the smaller dishes, but then you look at the buildings in the background, and those are full-size buildings. So, you know, those big ass dishes, and then the smaller dishes, they seem small, but they are really pretty good sized dishes too when you compare them to those buildings.
Yeah, so they are quite large, judging by the distance even.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes the impression here, it looks like being mini yacht. Snow removal equipment. NORB
Uh,
420 says snow removal equipment with a question.
Snow removal equipment, I haven't seen any. I'm sure they have it because it does snow. I don't know if
But-
you're referring to anything in particular in this video. I don't see any.
And probably to the truck.
Oh,
No,
the truck.
probably to
Yeah,
the
of
truck,
course.
yeah.
Well,
Maybe.
that could be. Yeah,
That
I'd
could
buy
be.
that. I would buy
Maybe.
that. As good an explanation as any. Good call.
Good call. Thanks for mentioning that. And yeah, there is a movement. If you can catch it, because it was a still photo, but it's still a video. It was getting to the
Nice.
end of it. And wow, we are almost in the end of the.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Let's see. Oh, we got another
That's
one of that's one of
probably-
the engine test cells. I think.
The engine?
Yeah, those are the engine test cells on the way south end of the
Yeah,
base.
but that is there any notes for that? That is 234. Yeah, 110.
Yeah, we got another beach jet.
Yeah, and this is the video on the piece of video that we ruled out to the other mystery aircraft, as we call it, ruled out to be just the same type as you will see right now, and that is 1 minute and 10 to start with. We just make it faster to.
Yeah, I see Dan's question. The tower was not rotating, unfortunately. Next time we got to really let the base know to make that thing spin when Michael is up there.
No, it was completely static. I tried to observe it for several hours and by 2 days, and it was totally static all the time. No move at all. I managed to think about it because it was what we tried to establish with York 1 year ago, and we even thought it moving all the time. At one particular moment, or moving slowly
Yeah.
all the time, but at the moment, it's something that needs to be set in advance, probably.
I mean, that
But
thing
it was
is
static, yeah.
that thing is pretty massive. I don't think it would like spin like this.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it would. It is able to be positioned slowly into a new position, and in at least one of the Google Earth historic photos,
Yeah,
you can
that's
see that
correct.
it's pointing in a different direction. I think it's not designed to actually spin, but to be repositioned as needed slowly, and it might take half an hour to get there. So
It's up on the mission, probably,
Yeah,
that is taken, yeah. So yeah, this is the mystery aircraft that ruled out to be the small Beechcraft. Yeah,
there it is.
there
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, we made just the comparison of the colors or the particular key data on both of these pictures. So huge. So it's kind of interesting, but this guy appeared to be there 2 days, and yeah, and the approach it is really quite fast aircraft. Now you can see that it's very lightweight aircraft because it's moving on the runway out of any problems. It's definitely faster than the runway 77, but yeah. And this is again another video shows the Janet terminal here, and we just put it here due to this guy passing through this. So I make the zoom. Of course, there is
Nice.
one.
Taxiing right in
Yeah.
front of the 737 Janet with the stairs on the side. And again, that big tower all the way on the right of the
Yeah.
frame.
Something
That
new.
is new. I would have noticed that before. That has got to be new.
Yeah, glad that you mentioned that because I seem to not seeing it either, even in August. So it needs to be put to the base from late August till at least early April. Yeah, something in that span of the time. So 6 months for base renovation or upgrade. Not bad.
Well, maybe they're putting another FM radio station in there. That would be
Yeah.
nice.
Will be another great disease. Yeah, let's make it. And now there is a section that I made the pictures of, and this particular video shows just the southern portion of the base.
Yeah, this is the gravel pit
Yeah,
and the concrete plant on the very south end of the base.
yeah,
I mean, the base, there's so much concrete work and building going on that they have their own concrete plant going on, and you can see it on Google Earth. It's very easy to find. It stands out like a sore thumb on the south end of the base. That's pretty much what we wanted to show you with this video.
Oh, and we'll see when the tower popped up because Dan is just looking through the satellite photos. He just mentioned that in the comment section.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
we'll have an answer in an instantly almost.
New tower is interesting. Yeah, it really is. I'm gonna definitely. This is literally in the
Yeah.
preparation of this. We stumbled upon that, and I'm gonna have to do some more digging into that. Where in relation to the base it is. I mean, that's a big tower.
Yeah, that's
So-
definitely a big tower. And yeah, the foreground is of course the Hangar 18. And it's
Auto
covered
Solutions,
moving
Area
aircraft.
51 Pirate Radio FM. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. A
Yeah.
pirate radio station. Love it. I'm sorry. go ahead.
No worries. I was looking at that particular image, what it shows. Okay, just was making it.
Which
You
one
like
is
this large
that?
one? Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. And there he is.
This is
wrapped up.
actually me standing at the secret new spot, or maybe not new, but my secret private spot there. I'm just pointing to the direction of the base, and you will see in my video that will hopefully come quickly to my new channel. No, just to my channel, YouTube channel. When I get back to Europe, I will make the quick, as I mentioned before. Even if my girlfriend will be telling that she is pregnant, it will still not keep me away from the computer. So I will make the.
Watch
quick
what you're saying
post-production.
here. That could be dangerous.
Life is brutal, yeah. Yeah, but really, yeah, it was kind of a thing that there is a lot of sun. As I'm burned from the sun, but mornings and early mornings are really cold, so you need to be well prepared for such adventures. So the anorak, the trousers, boots, everything, gloves, yeah. And you can do preparation and do what you like then.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your great footage with us.
Thank you, Viewtorg, and thank you for all the guys on the chat for coming up, and I was delighted to be able to share with that footage.
We're gonna take some questions if you
course.
guys have questions or any other comments that you wanted to. We didn't really while we were doing the presentation. I glanced at the chat sometimes, but I'm sure we missed something. So we'll take some questions. I'm going to end the sharing here and hopefully get back to us.
Yeah.
There we are.
So remember, guys, there is no wrong questions. There are
So
only good answers.
well, Boogeyman Ketchup wants to narrow it down. The secret spot is south of Tikaboo? Question mark. Maybe.
Maybe. Mhm. I don't know. I was always very bad at directions, so I need to use GPS to get there. Yeah.
Auto Solutions asks, how long does the hike to Tikaboo take?
Actually, it just depends on the shape of the particular person, but I would consider it to being like from 2 to 2.5 for a regular person to get up there. And actually, The most demanding part is when you're getting down from the peak, because there is a loose section that only ways to skip you down. So if you would make it anything in a rush, you may easily hurt yourself. So it's better
Yeah.
to not in a rush, but you can just make the proper stuff properly to come good with it. Especially as there is no internet, no any kind of connection and communication. So unless you have a satellite phone coverage, without this you are just there alone, yeah. And no one is even gonna to know that you were there unless you will tell somehow. But yeah, that thing is about to be considered if you are to traveling there. You just need to have a kind of pre-plan and tell
Definitely.
someone that you are approaching the place, because without this you are just getting there alone. You
Yeah,
make it a good hiker, you make it the best preparation as possible, but sometimes you cannot predict the things. So it's better to stay very alive with that ideas and just keep common thinking.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's you are in the middle of nowhere and things can go sideways really quick. As far as uh, how long does the hike take? That also depends on how good your vehicle is, how far up you can get.
Ah,
If you can get,
yeah, that's what
there's
to
that
mention.
washout that I think I have in a couple of my videos.
Yeah,
My friend is actually getting right across it with his Jeep. In my Tahoe, I could probably make it, but it would be, it's iffy. And if you can make it past that washout, then you're looking at another what mile and a half.
yeah,
So that you got to get that you got to hike until you even get to the staging area, what used to be the staging area of the
yeah.
Tikaboo hike. So you're adding another hour and a half or whatever to get to
To
that
get
spot.
there. Yeah, and to sum it
Um,
up, it is in the end it makes it like 3.5 miles to get from the Warsaw to the top of the Tikaboo Peak. So it's not a
yeah,
piece of cake for everyone, and I totally understand it because it's quite of a hike. Yeah, it's quite
yeah,
of a hike.
yeah.
It's not something that is unique or something like that. It's just something to consider and think about seriously to not hurt yourself, but it's perfectly done to do. Yeah.
So
And
Paul's Boutique says Feds have been leaving you alone. Yes, they have. In fact, they won't even answer my questions or my attempts to communicate. They pretty much just completely ignored me. So yeah, they've been leaving me alone. I've done nothing wrong. And in fact, Linda and I are going to make a live stream next Friday. Not let's see what is today. Thursday, I
Thursday,
think. I'm retired. I don't have to know
Thursday,
what
yeah, yeah,
date it
Thursday,
is.
yeah, yeah.
So not tomorrow, but the next week, Friday, Linda and I are going to do a live stream about the FBI investigation. We'll share with you what has happened, but they pretty much just leave us alone. They don't. They want to be left alone. They don't want to talk to us. So all is good. And Auto Solutions, I
I
was
was
going to
going
ask if I have a lifted Jeep. I was wondering how far I could get before it's impossible. You can
so
get,
yeah,
when you look at my directions that I have on the dreamlandresort.com website, you can get past. I have a video of my friend in a lifted Jeep making it easily across the washout. So you're not going to have a problem with that. You can make it to what is called the left turn in my directions. Past that, it gets very washed out and really iffy. If you're crazy enough and if you're good enough with your lifted Jeep, you can maybe even make it to the upper staging area. But you got to be crazy and you got to be really good with your Jeep for
yeah,
that.
definitely. If you lift it up and you have a good skills to drive it, so there won't be any problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
because sometimes even the best car is not appropriate when the driver will just do the crazy things. But it's a common sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
any
dancing, I'm sure
Dan,
half of, yeah, the Air Force OSI is in the stream right now. Well, if you guys are, I hope you're enjoying it. Gary, have you noticed any evidence that somebody else has ever been up to your secret spot or where you park your vehicle?
I see actually the evidence to that particular spot I haven't seen. I of course look around because I try to judge whether is it a spot that I discovered, or whether it's something that was discovered by someone else. I'm just making it fresh, new look at. But I was unable to prove any definite answer. I guess that there were probably people that could came through this because it's a open area over there. So it's if I could be there, then anyone could be there. But even if it was, there was no indicators to claim that. So I'm just taking it like that. Of course, my saying the value is say mine. It's probably the at least any kind of groomer interceptors or spotters wasn't there before, because we could see some photos of evidence of that probably. And if any kind of regular people or rangers were there, I taking it as being a possibility because it's an open range. So of course it's possible. As for the parking question, I would put it like tell the truth. If you couldn't pass the washout, both you can park to climb Tikaboo and to my secret spot at exactly at the same place. So, and that is as far as I can go.
And again, it's not that Michael wants to keep it all to himself, but there is no, right now, there is, contrary to Tikaboo, there is no camera watching that spot right now, so they can't keep an eye on him. And, we want to keep it that way. We want to have a spot where you can watch the base without being watched, and that is that spot, and that's why we don't want to publicize it too much.
It's not about my selfie or something like that. I would like to share with you guys, but at that point, when you have the modern world with the cameras or that surveillance thing, I'm not the person to hide anything, and I'm an open book to read from. I would estimate, but sometimes being private is someone that has a big value,
well,
and keep it like that way.
It's your own private area 51.
Yeah, that I love to.
So Terry, well, you got to bring your guitar out here and play some, and then we make that decision. How about that? Terry asked. Terry and I have been emailing back and forth. He's a guitarist with a very good band. They do Van Halen, and I've been trying to get him and his band out here to play. No, I'm just joking. But I would like to see you guys play one of these days. Desert 67 radio code makes the best pocket-sized radiation detectors. Probably even detect direct energy weapons types devices. Oh boy, you're really into this stuff, huh? Self-protection in those remote places, and should consider EMF clothing. Well, he may be onto something. I mean, I don't think they would actually shoot you with any kind of directed energy weapons, but they certainly could if they really get pissed. They could.
Yeah, so I would wonder it myself.
Maybe not such a bad idea.
Right, Scrapper. Yeah, has anyone been approached by the military while watching the base from Tikaboo? Maybe if the military went there for vacations, because it's public land. So actually, without doing anything against the country or violating any country rules or regulations, it's totally fine to visit by anyone. So
nobody has been approached as that I know of.
I haven't had as well.
On the other hand, we got to say that on the way up there, you trip at least 5 different sensors, so they will know that you're going up there. And then, of course, there is a camera on Tikaboo Peak, the weather camera.
That's the thing.
Goes straight to Area 51. But no, they have no right to approach a person up there. And people ask a lot, often ask me, do you think it's feasible that they might annex Tikaboo Peak and take it from public land? It would be logistically very different because it is detached from the boundary. It's not like Whitesides and Freedom Ridge were right there. All they had to do is extend the boundary a little bit. But in order to annex Tikaboo, they would almost have to. It's way far away from the boundary, so they would have to have a guard post up there to actually deter people or to enforce it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would ever happen.
That thing, and even grab a portion of such a long portion of land it costs a lot of money to
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah.
it's not a piece of cake for even for government to do it instantly. Yeah.
And then there's always the case with if you, I think if you withdraw less, and this is something that I got straight off Peter Merlin's book. If you withdraw less than 5,000 acres,
Yeah.
you have to go through less of a process. If you want to take 5,000 acres or more, you got to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
through Congress,
Oh,
and it's a much bigger deal
to
to get
looking
that
through, yeah.
approved, and everybody will catch on to it. The media is going to be all over it. And in order to actually include Tikaboo in the base, they would have to extend that perimeter so much
Yeah.
that it would be way more than 5,000 acres. It would be unbelievable. I mean, they they were actually trying to annex some land south of Tikaboo along Alamo Road that goes from Highway 95 near Mount Charleston, Corn Creek Station, up north to Desert Lake.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of boo-ha. There were several hearings, and ultimately it was denied. That
Yeah.
land grab was denied. So it would be
Because
very difficult for them to do
probably
anything like that.
2004 that was supposed to happen or something
No,
like that.
that was very recently. That was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the late teens, like 19, 18,
Oh.
19-ish.
Oh, so maybe they will try to grab the Tikaboo Peak alone in 2004. This is
That
where the
could be.
reports that begin to surface, probably.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
they've been talking about it,
oh,
but
Linda has got an answer. 2018.
2018, yeah, I think it was, of course,
Yeah,
Dryden
could
Rose
be
knows
that.
that because I went to some of these meetings, and it was before the Storm Area 51 event. I know that. So 2018, yeah, that's when that was, and it was a lot of back and forth. They did all kinds of environmental impact studies and this and that, and finally, it really looked like they were going to win. And I gotta say, to my astonishment, it was denied. And I guess they are regrouping and coming up with a new plan now. So,
Oh,
it's people are watching what happens in these parts much more closely now than
yeah,
back in the 50s and 60s when they
yeah.
grabbed all that chunk of land. You can't do that easy anymore. And
It's easy noticeable, yeah. You can easy
yeah,
notice it. So
yes,
it's not something
yes.
that could be just be up and gone, yeah.
You know, on the other hand, there's a story of, I just want to touch on that very briefly. The story of the Sheehan family and the Groom
Yeah.
mine. They were pretty much kicked off their own property. They were offered some money that they didn't consider to be sufficient because they own, to back up a little bit here. The Sheehan family owns the only private property overlooking Area 51, the Groom mine north of Area 51. And the government approached them several times, offered them some kind of token money, and they said, no, that's not enough. And some of their ancestors, I think their grandfather or whatever, are buried at that mine.
Ah,
So finally, the government said, okay, we've had enough. They issued eminent domain, and they took that land and gave them pennies on the dollar for it.
yeah. This is what really affects when you think about it, yeah.
Yeah, they can. And uh, if they really wanted to, and if they were ready to face the media backlash, they could.
Probably
People sometimes ask me, do you think they will ever take Rachel? If they really wanted to, and they want to deal with all the media backlash, they could take all of our properties
yeah.
here, eminent domain, and boom, there it is.
Yeah, in the name of a military game, it's always like a thing to do, yeah.
Yeah, but I
Because
don't think
national
that's
security is about explanation most of the time, so
yeah.
it's something that cannot be put to the grave, yeah.
Yeah, some of these stories, again, that I read in Peter Merlin's book in much more detail than
Yeah.
I knew about it, of these people that got ill after working out there, after being
Yeah.
exposed to toxic stuff, and they were basically told to go pound sand. You don't get anything.
Oh, Gary asked the question. I think by analyzing your photos, the military could have the capability to pinpoint your location. What do you think? Well, I guess any one of you guys or any kind of person that are looking to the pictures can use themselves using a very common means of programs or programs on the computers. that you could just try to judge the more or less where the place is taken. And probably most of you already got to it, and I haven't got any kind of direct question of where it is, as far as I remember. But yeah, if you would compare the pictures of the Tikaboo and pictures from my spot, you will easily notice that there is a little bit of difference in perspective, and that alone gives it a way to go with further research. So
Yeah.
then, of course, if I can see the base can see me. So yeah, that's a kind of just a game for fun, probably. Yeah. Um, and I guess military knows about me that I'm in the area because the sensors that are applicable are probably somewhere at the above here because it's a common, the same shared area. So maybe I'm not touching any every kind of the sensors there, but probably some probably detect me. So I'm just calling it secret, but maybe it's secret, but maybe it's not secret. Yeah. As
Yeah.
for the definite answer, it's hard to tell. If you ever ask me, Gary, if I believe it's they know about my presence there, I would say yes, because all that the heat measure heat the signature that I'm emitting and any other person emitting makes them possible to catch it from any distance they could be
Yeah.
and they could want. So it's not a secret that I'm there.
Yeah. And
We just made a stream day before, so
yeah,
we
well,
announced it.
we pretty much announced it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What is it? Scrappler was just curious if they ever send people out to Tikaboo to confront people watching the base. I'm assuming they just monitor Tikaboo from the base and just don't test if being watched. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And you have
I have proved that
proof for
sometimes. Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Go
As I
ahead.
mentioned in the last stream, it was called evening of one of the October 2023 days. It was the coldest day of the month as far as I remember on the forecast. It was confirmed after the month has ended. So I climbed Tikaboo very late previous afternoon and stay awake through all the night because of the how cold it was. It was totally freezing for me. So yeah, I know how to open the tent now, so it's better for me to get more cooperative thing. But at the time, I didn't know that how to do that properly. So just choose to lay on the rocks there, and without any cover of any kind of wall that would cover me from the face of the wind. I was totally puzzled what to do now, so I couldn't take even a nap. It was totally paralyzed, and because of that, there was one plus of it. I keep my camera mounted to the tripod, so I could very quickly use it. And it was 5:30 in the morning when, of course, the temperature was still low and there was a lot of wind to cooperate with it. I could hear the base chopper coming from direction of Groom, and it soon out that indeed was a chopper, the base chopper that came to check me out. Probably they were checking out if I'm still alive because logic dictates that normally people wouldn't stand that these temperatures, and it was what surprised me as well. But they made a round above me, making two stops, hovering for by 20 or 30 seconds each time, and then went to the direction of the base back. And I remember it had been very prominent moment because soon afterwards, of course, I got my scanner running all the event, so I got instantly answer as why they were up there. They were checking me out, and there was a condition Watchdog Tango used for that case. Watchdog is a kind of explanation for someone observing the base, while Tango, so phonematic for aviation alphabet, which is Tango, means probably reference to Tikaboo. So this was blood. It was reference for me being up over there. And yeah, for sure, it's not a pleasant situation because cancellation of the test flight is costly as much as I know. But in that particular case, it must have been something really classified or taken out of the public world that they want to hide that morning. For me, known that I was just 26 miles away, so 42 kilometers from the place, and judging by the fact this was October and 5:30 in the morning, the light was never out there yet. So actually, I wouldn't even provide any kind of good evidence, even though I could even take a photo or two. They wouldn't be as sure as possible to use anything. So that's indeed a very deep black project behind it.
So, Scrappler, I saw your follow-up post. The guy that killed a test at Groom is sitting right there. That's him.
That's me.
So, yes, they do cancel tests when needed, and they know pretty much. They have heat-seeking equipment and so forth. They know when people are up there and keep an eye on it.
I'm sure they use that for the heat signature equipment to spot me at the top.
Yeah.
It was not something difficult to do as they were in a close vicinity to me. They were as close as they could be. They emitted their own wind that was hitting me. So let's imagine how close they were. And yeah, I would try to look like being a die person over there, but instead of it, I tried to take a good photographs of them. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is how it was.
So the guy who killed the test Groom.
Oh.
So Paul's Boutique, either of you gentlemen familiar with the YouTube channel Adventures with Christian, been wondering why he dropped off the map. Any ideas? I think he got tired of being harassed by somebody else who kind of stole his idea and ran with it. I don't want to get too much into it, but he just lost interest and was pretty much bullied out of business, from what I understand.
Scrapla probably is referring to my video. It is not Adventures with Christian.
No, Paul's Boutique
Oh, yeah.
post. He's asking about Adventures with Christian.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what happened. He's alive. He's well, and contrary to what some other people say about him, he's just fine. And I've been in contact with him fairly recently. He just lost interest in doing any more videos and getting into confrontations with people that don't like the way that don't like the fact that he's more successful than they are with their videos. Please consider setting up a low-cost web SDR so viewers can listen live over the web. It wouldn't require super high bandwidth, just reliable average latency internet connection. Well, our internet connection here in Rachel is 10 megabit per second on a good day. That's
Yeah,
downstream, and I think upstream about 3 megabit per second. So, yeah, I am looking at getting a DSL set up, but quite frankly, I'm not sure how that would jive with the flying here. Sometimes when they're flying, they're jamming, and I don't know, they might be jamming a DSL. I'm sorry, a Starlink setup. I'm working on it. I've been working on it for a while, and I'm working on it. Okay. So, a Space and Nation, thanks for your dedication and work. Thank you for watching this.
Thank you for watching this. Thank you for your dedication too.
We love doing this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it because this is. I don't have to do this. I choose to do this, and Michael does too. He comes all the way from Poland to do this.
And I'm very delighted with it. I'm happy to be a part of that beautiful community, and I like it everything as you guys like. So it's
Awesome.
good to and awesome to have a common people to cooperate and to speak about things that we have a common hobby with. So if you have any kind of questions, I'm as open as always to answer them. Yeah.
And I'm going to put Michael's profile on my Dreamland Resort website in the chat in the notes to the video in the description, so you can click on that. You can find contact information for him and contact him directly and see all the great panoramas that he has already done for Dreamland Resort.
There's a question. What's the most interesting charter you have picked up lately? Actually, there are some charters that I don't understand entirely what they mean and where I refer to. But the one I was totally undoubted about was the one with Watchdog Tango.
Yeah.
This is the most prominent one I could highlight as being the very interesting and very serious one. That's out of control. just relate to me, yeah, directly.
Mm.
There are plenty of communications. When I check my recordings today, one day has like 160, 170 at least exchanges over the radio that happen to be overtaken on the several hours in time span. So it's a plenty of radio speech, radio chatter. But yeah, there is the most interesting one was the one with referring to my present at Tikaboo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's you don't hear that every day. And again, we are not looking to disrupt their operations. Normally, they don't call off tests, so it must have really been something
Yeah.
very significant that they had going on that day. Uh, Terry says, I will proclaim Area 51 to Area 5150. Well, you go for it. Love it. So, by the way, there's also an Area 52, but that is a subject for another day.
Yeah.
Can you recommend a scanner for listening to air traffic? That is a very broad question.
It's up to your needs actually, because you may just have a scanner to listen to communications. You need to know in advance what range of communications you need to use. So you could probably use your answer by this kind of characteristics details that I just speaking about. For example, the next possible variation to take is if you need, for example, recording of the communications, which is something I need to, yeah. But if you don't need, there is a lot of spectrum, and there are cheaper and more expensive ones. I may tell you what scanner I'm using actually, because it's kind of a thing that is not very, yeah, it's here. It's something very. It's actually that coffee, that one. Antenna is mounted, but I just demounted it right now. It's Unidentified VC 125AT. So AT model is particularly made for United States, and it's because the United States frequencies are different than European ones. So that model was bought by me on Amazon, and it's a really good one. I would say it's, of course, I have aftermarket antenna bought to it and put it on it any kind of adventure or trips. So it makes it possible to hear any kind of frequencies very clearly.
Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
make sure that you get a scanner that covers both UHF and VHF airband.
Yeah.
So you're going to cover the frequencies from 118 to 137 megahertz VHF air and UHF air from 225 through almost 400 megahertz. You don't want to have any gaps in those bands. Some scanners have gaps. Some scanners go all the way through. I like the scanners that go all the way through, typically from 25 megahertz to 1300 megahertz or up, and that's really. But what you really want to focus on is the UHF and VHF airband. And there's a related question: do your receivers cover a large wide bandwidth, and can they pick up and decode any spread spectrum? Most scanners can deal with spread spectrum transmissions. What uh, there's one group. Okay, you got your basic scanners that do AM, VHF, and UHF air. Then you got, of course, your trunking scanners that can decode some trunking systems. And then you have scanners that can go a little further and do NXDN and these kind of systems. So it really depends on what you want to do. There are two trunking systems here in the test site. One is in the 406 megahertz spectrum, one is in the 385 megahertz spectrum. So they're both B25 systems. If you want to listen in on some of the stuff that's going on in the ranges, that will be a good thing to have in your scanner. But most of the groom stuff, all of the groom stuff pretty much is encrypted. So not the best scanner in the world is not going to do you any good on that if it's encrypted. Paul's Boutique, he's asking me if I have any plans, future guest appearances with George Knapp on Coast to Coast or his podcast, Webnet. We haven't talked about anything. I have some ideas for guests that I would like to have on my live stream, and I'm pretty confident that that will work out. So this is great to have Michael
Yeah.
here and have you tell him firsthand about Tikaboo. And I have a few other ideas of other very interesting people to listen to that I would like to have on my live stream here. So it will be a little more organized. This was sort of impromptu because we didn't know it was going to how it was going to happen, if it was going to happen. And so I have some ideas. Bear with me. I'm doing all this while I'm doing other things, but it will happen, and I will have some other guests on this live stream. Do any of the aircraft? LG asks, do any of the aircraft broadcast ADS-B exchange, and so you can track aircraft online?
Actually, only Janets are to be seen on Flight Data
Yeah.
24 site. I'm not sure about ADS-B exchange. Maybe the Janets are over there as well. But most of the Janet sites are to be seen. Of course, you can see them landing directly at Groom. They would totally disappear before entering on the final approach, but there you have it.
Yeah.
They are on the range. Yeah? So it was the time when I was with my girlfriend Gabriela last time in August. She managed to get the internet connection, so she could tell me in advance that the Janet is approaching the base. Yeah, so that's kind of thing that helps sometimes.
Yeah.
If you couldn't hear the comms, you still have a kind of another device that may help you to read it out.
Generally, most of the military aircraft don't broadcast ADS-B inside the ranges.
Oh, that's interesting. Sorry.
And they kind of get around this when they come out of Nellis. Of course, they have to cross public airspace, so they use what is called TIS-B. It's an anti-collision system that broadcasts randomly assigned codes, so the aircraft cannot be identified by the code. You can track them, but you don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And when they get into the ranges, most military aircraft turn off their ADS-B. I operate an ADS-B receiver right here in Rachel behind my house, and another one in Goldfield. But so we can receive the information, and I'm feeding ADS-B exchange, Flight Radar 24, and Flight Aware. But of course, if they don't broadcast the information, there's nothing I can do about it. But some of them don't transmit location data or position data, but they only transmit elevation, speed, and so forth. And if you have it, you can triangulate these. If you have 3 receivers, you can triangulate the position of these aircraft. And I'm currently working on a 3rd receiver in this area that would allow us to track a lot more aircraft over the ranges.
Oh, there is an interesting Terry Lauder recent C-17 traffic from McKinley, Sacramento into Area 51. This subject is somewhat familiar with me for some time already. I try to do my best to get some ideas of how to check the large cargo or heavy aircraft as they come into TTR, which I have seen last year on my own eyes. There was another mission on me to catch these beauties traveling to landing or just transporting some stuff to Groom, but I have never found any kind of any evidence like live tracking or any kind of thing to use it. I see that Dan is following with the questions. I would have the same questions as he because it's a kind of a thing that's really interesting. So yeah, that's kind of the
Well,
thing.
I would like to learn more about that, but I honestly I don't know about it. That would be interesting to look into.
Yeah, definitely.
So we have LG. Will drones with FPV get you in trouble if keep them geofence also? Well, you can fly drones over Rachel. You can fly drones over some of the people come out here and take video of ghost towns and so forth. That's all legal, but of course it is geofenced, and you don't want to fly anywhere near the perimeter. Even though it may be technically legal, it would not be a good idea. You don't want to fly drones at the back gate. That would not be a good idea. And you certainly don't want to fly drones at the front gate because that would be illegal. At the front gate, the restricted airspace actually extends outside the boundary. So if you fly a drone near the front gate, near Groom Lake Road gate, you are flying in restricted airspace, and the sheriff will have something to say about that, as somebody else found out the hard way. So, not a good idea. And I would recommend to keep it. The closest I've ever flown my drone was by Andy's Mine. That is maybe, I don't know, 3, 4 miles away from the perimeter. And that is about as close as I would feel comfortable flying a drone. Of course, now I don't have a drone anymore. The FBI has my drone. So that eliminates that question. Very cool future project you have for triangulating ADSB receiver. Yeah, I'm working on it. I have a third location around the ranges that I'm in the process of securing, and it'll happen.
Can I bring a guitar to the back gate?
Why wouldn't you? You mount an amplifier on your truck and bring all that out here and play. Well, if they can blast on 99.9 megahertz, if they can blast music, we can certainly do that from our side.
Question: do you ever suspect some of your channel viewers, chatters are from the base? Do you recognize signs of you? You know, that kind of people needs to love what they are doing. So probably, yeah, I guess I'm the person that is known at the base, and the person that is probably known by some military stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking they are doing the reconnaissance and even sometimes jokingly mentioning who was flying that aircraft that are recorded. So if they follow my profile and make me subscriptions, that's fine with me. If they don't, that's not fine.
If they would not be doing their job if they wouldn't listen to broadcasts like this, go to websites like mine or probably half a dozen others. They just wouldn't be doing their job if they didn't do that. Of course, they are doing that. What better way would they have of finding out when somebody might go out to Tikaboo or this or that? Yeah, I don't think they're actively spreading disinformation on my website. I really don't. I have no indication for that being the case, but I'm sure they're listening in on, trying to get a feel for who is who and who may be a loose cannon and who can be trusted to not do anything stupid.
Oh, there is some.
Oh, thanks for Gnuamua. I'm sorry that I butchered your name. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate it.
There is
the Amateur Radio UFO Network would love to join us on. I think you have contacted me about that before. I'd really like to do that. I'm going to have to look into that, how to do that. From here, we don't have any Echolink repeaters available, but I'll look into that if I can do that from Las Vegas.
Oh, there's a 67 Olympus Ticon 17X teleconverter. 1.7x magnification has been used with the P1000. It has received positive reviews on the DP Reviews forum. Actually, I was watching to enhance the quality of my pictures to make it even better. I know that the post-production thing is something to do, and which is something I have some ability to do and ideas what to do. But actually, if you have any kind of the links, you could send it over to the chat or directly to me. You will find my email in my bio on the Dreamland Resort website site, and I would be happy to come forward through it to read about it, because if it would be something usable, I would give it a try. Maybe it could some kind of make it even better. And I'm not saying nothing, but this is not the last time I'm supposed to visit ranges this year. So yeah, maybe next time.
Might be a nice new toy for you.
Yeah, that could be. I need to tell my girlfriend to bring.
Well, I think with that, I think we need to wrap it up. We've been 2.5 hours already.
Wow.
And you've
That should
come
go
down
by
from
fast,
Tikaboo. Okay, Auto Solutions, can you use a spotter scope, another alternative to a high-powered camera and get a look? That's actually get a look from Tikaboo. That is what we used to do back in the olden days. I have a Celestron C5
Yeah,
that I used to haul up to Tikaboo, and with a what they call it a T adapter, you can connect the camera to it.
yeah,
The problem with that was that it defeats the autofocus. You don't have autofocus,
yeah,
so you're manually focusing. And the problem on Tikaboo in the mornings when the air warms up, your focus point keeps drifting because your tube expands all the time as it warms up. So your focus point is drifting. You don't have autofocus, so you're constantly fiddling with the focus on the spotting scope. It's very, very difficult to get sharp photos that way. And I really think that what Michael is doing with the camera
yeah,
with that P1000 is the best way to do it right now.
yeah. That is what leading me to do that.
So, well, guys, okay,
Yeah,
let me go through this. Well, thank you all for being here. And by the way, I'm going to read the whole chat after the fact. You can read that when you replay the stream. I really appreciate all your great comments, your great questions, and your interest.
yeah. I really
Thanks for
appreciate
bearing
you.
with us,
Thank you
and
so much.
I'm really excited that Michael was able to join us here. So thank you again, Michael,
Thank
for
you
being
again.
here.
Thank you again, York. Thank you again to all comers that and viewers that are coming here. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
Awesome. Thank you, and we will do this again soon. Don't go away, and keep in mind next Friday, Linda and I will be speaking about the FBI raid. And with that, thanks again, Jörg from Dreamland Resort, and Michael signing off.
Bye.